All right, we'll give a few moments here. All right, hello, succeeders. This is Stacy Barlow, Heal Your Leadership and Lifestyle Coach, helping you to become the best version of yourself and lead successfully. As you can see, I have a guest with me today. I have Mr. Sam Lucci, and I'm going to let him tell a little bit about himself. But Sam is an entrepreneur. He started out as an educator. He has gone on to train other business owners and work for multi-million-dollar companies and start and organize multi-million-dollar companies. He has a initiative right now he's working on called the Think More, React Less. So Sam, welcome. I'm happy to have you today. How are you?
I'm fine, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it. Appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. Yes, I got to know Sam a little bit. Last month, I was on his podcast and got to get to know him and to talk about Live, Lead, Succeed. So now we're doing the reverse, and I'm going to hear more about you and your journey today.
Okay.
So, all right. So I gave the people a little bit about you. So why don't you go ahead and just give your version of yourself and your kind of your shortened journey here.
Okay, sure. I'll tell you who I am, what I'm doing today, who I am, what I'm doing, I guess, and then I'll go into a little background of how I got here. But I'm the co-owner of Cabinet World in Bathurst. I own that with Frank Wachowski. He and I actually met in college, and we've been in business together since 1972, longer than a lot of people have been married. So most people say you can't have a successful partnership. We have had one, and we are a total offset with each other. He's incredible. He supported me every day, and of course I support him too. But we started out with nothing. We were both school teachers actually, and then we built the businesses that Cabinet World and Bath Fitter are. They're approaching $20 million now in annual sales, which is very large for that type of a company. We will be franchising our system in about 2 years. That's something that's never been done. And that's the reason we're going to be able to do that is because of the training program that I developed to train salespeople
Nice.
and business people, professionals in business. That's why we're going to be able to do that. In about 2 years, we'll be doing that. I also own Partners Through People, which is a corporate, and I have two different things here, two entities. One of them is Think More React Less Educational Initiative. That is what I'm actually doing is giving away to the whole world the secret that I found or was allowed to discover, maybe would be a better way to say it. And I don't want that to die with me, so I'm giving that. We're just starting it right now. The educational initiative, Think More React Less. Now you can get that at thinkmorereactless.com. The other part of other program that we have is that's a nonprofit. The for-profit is Platinum Edge, and in Platinum Edge, what we do is train you to the rest. You won't get the full measure of Think More React Less. It'll give you a good start, but you really need coached and brought through the whole program to get the total benefit. But I make the statement that you have to be as expert in dealing with people as you are expert in what you do. And we've never been taught that. Nobody teaches it. Even the finest institutions do not teach that. And what I have done through the years is built a program to articulate that. And it's a science to me now. There's no more mystery to it. People only behave in one of four ways. You have to see that in 3 seconds and adjust your behavior. When you learn to communicate, you realize it's about listening, not talking. I don't care what you do, you need a process. So those are the other three modules that we add to the attitude module. And then that makes up our Platinum Edge program. So we have a nonprofit that we're giving away to the entire world. And then we have a for-profit to help business owners train their salespeople and train their staffs. So
Nice.
that's what I do.
Absolutely. And you're which part I know in the Think More React Less, one of the programs is absolutely free on there, right?
It's all free on the
Yeah.
educational initiative. It's free, and that is the what we call the B code and breakout. That's what we're getting the patent. We have a patent pending on that. It's that new. What we've done there is we say we've cracked the code on human behavior, and we really have. And what it comes down to, think of it as an owner's manual for a person. I mean, that may sound like, well, what are you talking about? But I before I discovered what I discovered, I didn't know what made me do what I do. I didn't know why I would get react to this or get upset by that, or why I would feel down about this or feel excited about that. And it explains all that to you. But more important than that, it explains to you how to change that, change your attitude to get the behavior that you want. And
Mhm.
lots of people could tell you. I've been on this mission for 50 years. One of your questions is, do you know your why, and how did you discover it? And I got to tell you that, yeah, I knew my why when I was pretty young. I'd go back to 14, 15, maybe. I couldn't put it in words, but I was always chasing the same thing. Is what really excites me is to figure out something and solve some problem that I understand. If I don't understand, I have any interest in, I won't there. But for some reason, human behavior and so forth always intrigued me, and I always wanted to help people live a better life. It's been something. That's why I went into school teaching. One time I was very religious. I was a Eucharistic minister, not anymore. But I went into politics. I always figured, try to help people live better. Do better than they do. And that was my why. And how did I discover it? I think it just happened. I can't say that I discovered it, but I can say I was on a mission all my life to find it, and that mission took me to find the B code and breakout that we're getting a patent for. That's the part that we're giving away. I will say this: I was obsessed with looking for it. I subordinated everything to that cause. I mean, myself, my relationships, my business. I use my business as a research and development center. They provided the funds to keep financing it, and I made hundreds of hiring failures and learned from them, until I could piece it together little by little. I started out by studying all the known things that was out there. And when I saw I couldn't get anywhere with it, I read this book probably 30 years ago, around 30 years ago. It's called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It was written in 1937
Yeah.
in the basement of the White House. Now, I became a student of Napoleon Hill, so I've studied everything I could get my hands on. I never met him, but anything he ever said or wrote, I probably have it. He was like a mentor to me, even though I never met him. And I was
Mhm.
intrigued because he talked about the power of the human mind, and he said, whenever you realize it in the book, put the book down, raise a glass of wine because it's going to change your life. Well, I knew he was right, and I knew what he was saying was true, but I couldn't make it work. And he made the statement, there's no way to explain man's indifference to himself. So that's where I picked up. I know why man is indifferent to himself and how man can stop being indifferent to himself and build the life that they want. So Napoleon Hill was 100% on target, but he didn't know why he couldn't make it work. And I picked it up right there. And that's how we came up, I guess, with think more, react less, or think to win. You know, thinking is the key to success. Reacting is the key to loss. Most humans are reacting most of the time and don't know it. If you would have told me that I was reacting before I understood this, I would have been arguing with you. No, I'm not. I would say I know it as a fact. When I didn't know it as a fact at all, I was just trying to shove it down your throat, and it was a bunch of garbage. But we don't realize when we're thinking and when we're not. And the first thing you learn in the B code is, am I thinking or am I not? So anyway, that's me, and that's how I came to find the B code. So
Wonderful. Now, you mentioned that you started as an educator.
yeah.
How do you feel that maybe your time in that position kind of helped you towards entrepreneurship or prepared you for entrepreneurship?
I think I've always been an entrepreneur, probably from the time I was 7, 8 years old. And I don't mean to be silly about that, but entrepreneurs are free spirits, and I'm a free spirit. I'm a dreamer. They don't like routine. I never liked routine. I grew up alone. I was a little farm. We had my sister was my only playmate. There was no other children around to play with. So I spent all my time pretty much by myself and thinking, and in the woods, and on the farm and things like that. So I think I've always been an entrepreneur, but education. I went to college. I was going to study law, and I got off of that real quick. I'm glad I didn't do that. I would not have been a calling. But so I just defaulted into education. And if you think about it, it fits right into wanting to help people. So that was a natural, easy move for me. And I studied comprehensive social sciences, things like that, history, economics, civics, political science. And then eventually I did social issue courses in my last year or two there. I loved it. I loved the topic. I love the study of humans, and they're from the beginning of time till now. So that was good. Now, but you starve to death when you're a school teacher. I don't know what to do now, but I mean, literally, we had it wasn't a living wage when we started. So I always had two jobs. I had two jobs. I worked my way through school myself. I didn't burden the family, and when I got out of school, I just kept going. I had two jobs, and we would work Saturdays, Sundays, weekends, and summer. And then did that for 7 years, I think. And then I started a business part time with another person who's full time, and then I just quit it and went full time with the business, and I've been there ever since, and I love it. So it was right along with my why is the best way I can tell you. But I did learn that you can't really, students weren't really open. I remember I was teaching a course in marriage and family living. Okay, and we were teaching birth control as part of the curriculum, right? This is back in 1976, 76. Okay, and don't you know, one of my girls in one of the class gets pregnant. I'm thinking, we just talked about that, how that happens. You listen
Yeah.
very well, but that would be an example. I guess I didn't understand that it wasn't just about information, and it was all about motion. And
Motion.
so,
Yeah.
so I don't know if that helps you in understanding that, but I love to
Yes,
teach. I love to
absolutely.
teach. Now I teach adults, so I never stopped
Yeah.
teaching. I just got out of
Absolutely.
you know.
So, what still keeps you going? I mean, you said you've been doing this over 50 years and you've seen a lot. I'm sure you've learned a lot of lessons. But
Hmm.
what still keeps you energized and keeps you? You just mentioned you're wanting to franchise your company in a couple of years. So that takes a lot of energy and, and effort to still continue on that path. So, what's still
Right.
keeping you going at this point?
Well, I'll be very honest about that. We're going to franchise my company, but I'm not going to do it. My management team's going to do it. I hired a couple of
Okay.
professionals, and
Okay.
if I want to be totally honest with myself, I was never that infatuated with my business. I was infatuated with understanding people, and my business supported that,
Mm,
and it still does. I mean, I want to do that because it was something I wanted to do when I was 25, 28 years old. And now that I have this information, I can change behavior. I can do that. But what makes me get up in the morning, I'll be 74 on July 11th, and what makes me get up in the morning is the same old thing that I've you said the why. I mean, I love to help people live a better life, and when I look at how we live in as at home, I divide it up at work, at home, at play. At home is who you spend your life with, whoever the other people in your life are. At work is how you make a living, and at play is how you take care of yourself. Well, I was very poor at taking care of myself. I would always come last. I'm overweight. I'm getting on top of that right now. Now that I get everything else under control, I'm working on that. But when you look at, we fight with each other, we argue with each other, we still try to cheat each other out of money. None of that is necessary. It's all ridiculous. And I want to see people live a better life. I'll never forget. I was probably 10, 11 years old. My dad and I were watching this movie on TV, and it was obviously a war movie, and it was obviously in the Pacific, and the submarine was blowing up these oil tankers. There's about 6 or 7 of them in a row, five, and they were blowing up these oil tankers. And I told my dad, I said, "Why on earth did they blow these oil tankers up?" And he said, "Well, he said in war you have to kill your enemy's supply lines." Okay, I accepted the answer intellectually, but I thought, man, why don't they just get together and split that oil instead of blowing it up? So I've always seen are the things that we do as humans that don't make sense. I was able to see that at a very early age, and I've always wanted to help do something about that. And with the B code and breakout, that changes that entire paradigm. I'm not the same person I used to be. I mean, I'm a dominant person, so I would have told you exactly what you need to know because, of course, I was the smartest person in the world, and I didn't have any problems trying to tell people that. And then as I learned what I
Yeah.
learned, I think nobody wants to hear you. They have their lives to live, and they have to make their learning experiences just like you did. So now I never do that. If I want to offer you any suggestion at all, I ask you, would you like to consider? And if you say no, I don't. If you say yes, I offer. And then if you accept it, fine. If you don't accept it, that's okay too. See, the dysfunction, whenever you can think and feel together, you're functional. Whenever you can't think and feel together, you're dysfunctional. So, what does that mean? That means that whenever we feel a negative emotion, fear, and it's all fear, whether it's doubt, whether it's anger, whether it's resentment, or feeling unloved or unwanted or whatever, Whenever you feel that, your intellect will not work with your emotions. Then that causes you to become dysfunctional. And most of us are dysfunctional most of the time, unfortunately. We are and don't know it. That's what the B code shows you. So, your life is an exact measure as to where that stuff stops in your emotional system and where you can start to live in truth. Because the more you can live in truth, the better your life's going to get on every account. If you want to make more money, you have to get rid of the opinions that are not allowing you. If you want to be healthier, you got to
Mhm.
get rid of the opinions that are not allowing you to be healthy. There is nothing else. And uh, the best thing I can say to your audience is what Napoleon Hill said is what the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve. And that is very true. What the mind of man can conceive and believe it can achieve. And what I found is what the mind of man does believe it does achieve. Sounds the same, totally different. So,
Yeah,
in other words, if
yeah.
I believe I'm only allowed to make $60,000 a year annually, and I try to make more than that, I won't be able to do it. I know it might sound, come on,
Mhm.
you gotta be kidding me. No, that's what's at. If I believe I
Mhm.
deserve to be punished because I was a bad boy when I stole a cookie when I was 11, okay, I would still be wanting to punish myself for stealing that cookie when I was 11. I know it sounds strange or weird, but it's true. We have thousands, maybe 10,000 opinions, beliefs, lies, you can call them whatever you want, buried inside of us. They act out on our behavior first. If they're not there, then they can't act out. So there's really nothing to learn. There's only something to take away, which is opinions. Now, how do you develop a belief? Well, it's very simple. A belief is nothing but a feeling of certainty about something, anything. Maybe you don't like liver. I cannot eat liver. That's a belief. Many people eat liver and it's fine. But there's a lot of other things I can eat. I don't have to eat liver. But let's suppose that you don't feel that you're worthy enough or good enough, and I never met anybody that didn't. Including, I'll raise my hand to be number one. Well, you deny yourself. My company will be franchised in a couple of years. I mean, for most of my life, I worked for wages. I literally worked for wages, and I did not allow myself to have money. And then when I got rid of those beliefs, then I allowed myself to have money, or the B code would have never come into existence, and I certainly wouldn't be sitting here talking to you now. So I had to get rid of those beliefs, opinions, and so the thing I'm going to tell you is this. Remember this. Anybody who ever listens to this podcast, the most important takeaway today is whatever you believe, you make true in your life. Whatever you believe, you make true in your life. So if you look at your life and you look at your lack, you look at what you don't want and you look at what you do want that you're not getting, I guarantee you, just as much as I'm sitting here talking to you, there is a belief between you and that. And if you could find that and eliminate it, then you can move yourself forward to what you want. And I have a process to do that called breakout. It's very exact. We give it away in the Think More React Less program. Now, to get the total full measure of it, you need coached. I mean, I'm not, you're going to understand it and you'll move yourself light years by just understanding and working with it. But if you really want to get to the bottom of yourself quickly, then you're going to want to be coached. And we'll have a program to train trainers. We have a program to train trainers. I'm just getting started with that. As a matter of fact, I'm looking for my first trainer to train, and then they will train trainers. I'm looking right now. I put it on Indeed last night. So we're just starting to do that. So anyway, that's what we do. Whatever you believe, you make true in your life. It's that simple.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that because that's something that I harp on a lot on the Live Lead Succeed platform is mindsets and limiting beliefs and everything. So now they know it's not just me saying this. They have someone that's been in this game for a long time, and it really is. It starts in your mind. It starts with what you believe and what you tell yourself. Your brain is going to believe. So
Yeah,
I
it's
appreciate that.
good.
Absolutely. So earlier, Sam, you were talking about, maybe some things that you've learned along the way, and what would you consider maybe to be maybe a failure that you've learned from along the way? I don't think anybody that has reached, a level of success has done so without some type of failure. But is there anything that stood out over your career that maybe
Sure.
looked like a failure at the time that turned out to be
Yeah, I don't
something
want
good
to.
or a lesson learned?
I don't want to be a double. Sound like I'm double speaking. Are my answers going too long? Are they okay with you? When I
Oh,
give you
you're
an
okay.
answer?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay, okay, yeah, because I can talk forever about this thing. But I look at the failures now, and I understand them more as learning experiences. I really do, and that's not a. I'm not copping out. when I was going through them, sure, I would have thought I was called them fairs. Twice in my life, I lost all my money. You know, I
Mm,
lost it all and started over. Uh, Looking back, the best thing that ever happened to me, but not at the time. Not, you know,
mm,
I felt completely unloved at one point. I mean, when I got divorced, I've been divorced twice actually. When I got divorced the first time, everybody turned against me. Everybody pretty much turned against me. I don't think I had anybody left in my corner in my world.
mm,
And then, then people saw the truth about things and came back. So I think my relationships were failures, but they were also learning experiences. I have two wonderful children. I have a great relationship with my first wife, the mother of my children. I take care of her yet. I still do. And my second wife is very capable of taking care of herself. She's a natural born salesperson, and she helped me launch the Bath Fitter business. But we have a decent relationship. I would say it's good enough. But I look at all of my past experiences as learning experiences, and I think that's a fair statement because each one I learned from. Now, probably the most profound experience I ever remember in my life was being sued in federal district court by a person who was a independent contractor who claimed that she was an employee and filed a suit for religious discrimination against me. And we went,
mm,
oh God, this thing went on for I don't know, 5 years, 3 years, a long time. I mean, I can't tell you how
mhm,
many times I was deposed, and the court system is well, that's another story. Okay, today, if I was deposed, I would smile and have a good time, but I was naive and I took it serious, and now I know what I'm doing. But we went to federal district court in Pittsburgh and had a trial for 5 days, and at the end of the trial, they agreed with me that she was not an employee; she was an independent contractor. Therefore, she couldn't have been violated. But we didn't
mm,
violate her anyway. But we didn't have to do that part. So that was probably the most profound experience I ever remember, and the most intimidating, very intimidating. But when I look at myself, how I grew from it, how many beliefs I got rid of, I had to get rid of because of it, opinions. So
mhm.
it grew me up and got me ready take this B code to the world. So again, at the time it was terrifying, but now it's as you can see me smiling. It was no big deal, I learned from it, and that's how I
Yeah,
live life
yeah.
now. You know, if I
Mhm,
have an adversity today, I'll I just ask one question: what do I need to learn? What do I need to learn? What behavior do I need to change? Because I was a
mhm,
cavalier person, them the torpedoes, full speed ahead. You say I can't do it, I'll show you. I don't do that anymore.
mhm.
I'm done with that insanity. Okay.
Awesome. Wonderful. Well, Sam, thank you. I'd like to end on this question. And we talk about finding our versions of success a lot of times. And a lot of times when people hear the word success, they instantly think it's houses and cars and money. And, we have to learn to find what our version of success is. And I'm curious to know what your version of success is and if you feel that you've reached that in your life.
Yes, but just recently, my version of success in life is success in all 3 areas of your life. In other words, you're doing what you want to make a living, and it's working. Your relationships are working. My relationships now are working, and uh, and you take care of yourself. That was my last quest. I went to a nutritionist, a physician who specializes in that, more of a holistic doctor. And
Mhm.
I'm starting, the last 3 weeks I'm walking in the morning. I get up at 6 o'clock instead of 7:30. I get up at 6. I walk. About that I go in and loosen up my joints are. I'm trying to rehabilitate myself. Now I'm not like I don't take any medicine and I'm not have any major conditions, but I haven't. So that's what. So success to me is when you're taking care of yourself, taking care of your relationships are in order, and you're making money that you want as much as you want, not as much as somebody else tells you should have. If you're trying to make money, your ego's making you or telling you, forcing you to make money. You're just listening to it. I mean, you're a slave to it. Money will not bring you happiness, but I can tell you, you're not going to be happy without it either. I mean, money. If you are together and you're functional, you'll use your money for good purposes, and that will bring joy. That'll bring joy in your
Mhm.
life. But if you try to just grab it and get it, and just having it as a deal, it will not do it. And I never had that disease, thank God. That was never my problem. I'm really
Mhm.
happy that it wasn't. So my thing was finding that information to help people live a better life, live the life they were created to be. In Think and Grow Rich, it says what the mind can't conceive and believe it can achieve. It's right. What the mind does believe it does achieve. So what I found, if you want to make good on Napoleon Hill's promise, then you got to get rid of what you believe in order to get what you want. And that's what I'm all about. That's what the song I sing, because that's all there is. Whatever you believe, you make true in your life. There is nothing else. You don't need more education. You don't need more money. You don't need more relationships. You all those things will be brought to you if you get your mind right. And it's not about having a bad attitude. A bad attitude you can see 100 miles away. It's not a bad attitude at all. It's limited opinions that are buried in your subconscious mind that you don't know you have because they got there without your participation and without your permission. So you don't even know they're there. That's science has proven 95% of what we believe is below our mental awareness. What we do is show you that, first of all, validate that that's true, and then find them little by little, find them and get rid of them. And then in the TMRL, we have what we call 8 foundational breakouts, which kind of give you the foundation from which to work off of. So it's organized now. It took many years to organize it after we got the information. Okay, you can see I'm
Wonderful.
really I love to talk
Yeah,
about this.
absolutely. No, I feel like we share a common goal, and that is service, helping other people
I
to,
see that. Yeah, yeah.
become
I
that
saw
best
that right off.
version. And yeah.
Right.
So I thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anything that you would like to leave with everyone today? Any ending
Well,
thoughts?
if I guess if you go to Think More, React Less, if you don't do anything else, go to Think More, React Less and get started. It's not a theory. It's 100% accurate. If trying to help the whole world and it's help business. Business pays for everything. Uh, Start with it, share it, and send us a few dollars of donations. I have put $30,000 a month into this effort since about 2004, man, about 2004, and that's hard money. I mean, I make money somewhere else and bring it here to put into this. I would like to start financing itself, and then if you really want to develop yourself, go to Platinum Edge. We have professional development for attorneys, accountants, and then we have sales development if you are in direct sales. Our sales training program is like $149 a month. I think the other one is 79. I mean, you get $1 million worth of information. You can, it's a science. So selling is a science. You have to be as expert dealing with people as you're expert in what you do. If you follow those 4 modules, even if you don't get privately coached, you're going to get tremendous movement. And then we're going to be training trainers. Like we'll go to a company that has some size. We'll train the trainers so that they can develop their people. Uh,
Mhm.
I mean, that's what I'm doing in my own company. That's how I got to this size. We'll be 20 million today. We'll probably go from 20 million, 24 million, 30, and then franchise. I mean, how? Why? Because we can help people become salespeople, and salespeople aren't walking around looking for a job. They're just not out there. There's
Mhm.
only a few naturals, and I wasn't one of them. I was not one of them.
Yes.
I
Me
was not one
neither.
of them. I love to train salespeople, but I'm not one of them. But if you're inclined that way and you're open-minded, we can help you. Okay, we don't make you one. We help you make yourself into one by eliminating, I call it trash in your emotional system that allows you to become one. Professional selling is a wonderful profession because you can do it as long as you want. You can do it to whatever scale. You can scale it up, scale it down. If you want to take a month off and take a nice long vacation, you can build up on this end and build up on that end. And if you're successful, your company will put up with that. Because if you're successful, you can write the ticket. I always tell people I'm training for sales. My salespeople are, they get the best because they make the money. Without them, nobody else has a job. So I'm gonna
Mhm.
work with them. I've already met my salespeople late at night to try to help them get unstuck. I don't have to do that anymore before we organize this, but I'll do just about anything to help my salespeople perform, or any of my employees too, but especially my salespeople because they make the money. Okay.
Absolutely wonderful. Well, I will make sure I go and put the links so you all can go ahead and take advantage of Think More, React Less, which is, I think the website is thinkmorereactless.com,
Yeah.
correct? Okay, but I'll make sure I put the links up too with the video so you guys can go ahead and take advantage of that. But you will want to check that out. I have been through it myself. It's a wonderful resource, definitely a great place to get started, to get you prepared. Like Sam said, I do agree that, coaching is needed at some point, but sometimes we don't know where to start or we may not have the resources at that time. And Sam is giving you a free resource for you to go ahead and to get your mind in the right mindset to get headed where you need to go. So thank you, Sam, for being with us today. We are actually going to continue our conversation in the Successful Soul Circle. Sam is going to teach us today and give us some of his knowledge over his 50-year career span here in entrepreneurship. So if you have not signed up for the Successful Soul Circle, I suggest you do so. And even if you sign up today, you'll still have access to the replays. You have an online classroom where you'll be able to watch all of the lives and the replays with our guest experts. So Sam, thank you. We are going to continue our conversation, but we are going to end our live broadcast now. And we will see you all in the Successful Soul Circle.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much. I love to do this and talk about it. So it's been a real pleasure. And I thank you again.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.